All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, August 28th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays, like player props that we like in the game as well. But as always, all of my final plays, if you do want to fade me, all of my final plays will be in the pinned comment. And in terms of last night, a reverse sweep. We were, in fact, the dustpan. We had 4 plays go off. We're 3 units total because we had 2 half-unit plays in there, and none of which comes through. The only one that I'm really bummed about was that we were all over the Padres. First 5 money line, first 5 run line. They had a 2-run lead heading into the bottom of the 5th and choke it away. So we'll drop a womp womp on ourselves. But what I will say, and the community always picks us up when we're down, right? Shout out to Mr. Smob here for the ride of the day. Cash had the Mets and the Diamondbacks over 8.5, and that one comes through and cashes. Though I stunk out loud last night, at least the ride of the day didn't. So shout out to Mr. Smob. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, all you have to use is that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play, give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, like Smob did last night, we continue to ride with your play. So very much looking forward to seeing what you come up with today. If you lose, unfortunately, you got to face the womp womp, and we got to make, I guess, we got to make example of it. But get those hashtag ride of the days in there. Again, we're looking for Mr. Smob's play today because he won last night, but still does not hurt to drop your ride of the days in there because we have some sharp, smart people in the comments. So get those comments down there. But what do you say we go ahead and jump into today's slate? I almost want to guarantee we'll do better than last night, but you never know. It's sports betting, right? We could have 2 dustpans in a row. I don't think that we've ever done that before, but you know what? Like I said, it is sports betting. I'm a dummy with a camera and a microphone. It's bound to happen to me at some point, right? But let's go ahead and hope it's not the case and jump into game number 1 here. Looking at Pittsburgh taking on Chicago. Paul Skeens on the mound for Pittsburgh, going up against Chicago's Kyle Hendricks. I was going to say Kyle's Chicago Hendricks, which Chicago Hendricks sounds like a band name. So far, this series has been all Chicago, 18-8 and then 9-5 yesterday. We had the first 5 under in that game, and Chicago went off. If you watch back yesterday's video, I was like that close to pulling trigger on Chicago money line, and like I said, I'm a dummy. I did not. But Paul Skeens here has looked good. He's kind of back to what he was doing in his last start, but prior to that, he had looked just good, like I mentioned. He'd been looking great to start the season, right? But then, had a kind of a rough start against the Dodgers. Even Seattle, I think he didn't even look spectacular, still looked good, but then he bounced right back into form against Cincinnati. It was at home, 6 innings pitched, just 2 hits, 0 earned runs, and 9 strikeouts here. I think the Pirates win this game today. I'm going to lean towards them kind of on the back of Paul Skeens, but minus 166 is not necessarily a price that I want to pay. I'd probably rather consider looking at Chicago's team total under, just given the fact that they've scored so many runs, and still it's not an offense that I'm like totally bullish on, right? So maybe Paul Skeens can go out there and give them some trouble. He does have an appearance against them already this season. Actually, I think he has 2, right? One of which didn't look all that great. That was really early in the year. And then he bounced right back and went 6 innings, 11 strikeouts, 0 hits. He threw a no-hitter through 6 innings against them in his most recent start, right? So I think that he's going to have some decent success against them today. He's obviously going to throw a lot of fastballs. They do hit the fastball well. He mixes it up with the sinker, which they don't hit as well, and then the changeup and the slider. So really that fastball is all I'm worried about. But when you have one of the best young pitchers in the league throwing his best pitch, and it is the fastball, I think that that's going to be a better fastball than the Cubs are at hitting the fastball, if that makes sense. So when you have the Skeens versus Hendricks matchup here, I think that might be worth looking at Pittsburgh, but not at that price. And also, I'd probably only consider it on the first 5 if we were to take that side. But like I was saying, I don't mind the idea of maybe a Chicago Cubs team total under. That way you're backing Paul Skeens and not having to worry about, I guess, if their offense can come to play. So I'm going to lean towards Skeens in the Pirates, as well as a team total under for the Cubs. But keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we end up rolling with that. This Cubs offense has looked really good. I don't care if it's Paul Skeens or Nolan Ryan or Roger Clemens. Anyone comes back, seems like they can hit guys right now. But like I said, Paul Skeens is very good. I'm trusting him today, but not sure if we can get to the window with it. All right, we got Cleveland taking on Kansas City, and man, oh man, did I overthink this one yesterday. Kansas City plus 150 dogs. We talked about it in the video. I said they have the better offense. I feel like we should be leaning towards them. They win 6-1. How do we not pull that one out? We just did not see the board well yesterday. If we liked something, we overthought it. If we loved something, we rushed to place it. You know what I mean? So hopefully today's a new day. But today we have Michael Walker on the mound for Kansas City going up against Tanner Beebe. And given the fact that we've seen 3 straight wins now from Kansas City, I do think that we have a Cleveland win in here at some point. Tanner Beebe's on the bump. I like him. He's coming off a bad start. I'm sure he's looking to bounce back. On the season, he's been very good. My one concern is how good this Kansas City offense has been. In the last 30 days here against righties, 288 average, which is good enough for number 1 in the league against righties, 4th in WRC+, striking out the 2nd fewest, on base is 5th, OPS 2nd, ISO 3rd, slugging 2nd. So I do think this is the Cleveland spot. They do have the better bullpen as well, but to me, the thing that would keep this off or could keep this off is 2 factors. Kansas City's offense tremendous as of late, and Cleveland's bullpen is very, very taxed, and that's a huge advantage I believe they have in this series. So keep an eye on the pin comment. I do like Cleveland. I'm not going to be betting Kansas City today with Walker on the mound. Not that I necessarily hate him, but again, and he's been pitching really well, I believe. But they're just, it's really hard to beat a team 4 times in a row, I would assume, in the MLB. In terms of a total, I guess I'll lean towards the over. Kind of gives us that safety net that even if BB pitches, and Kansas City gets to him, I think the Guardians can still get to Walker today. He's definitely due for some regression. So a 5-4 game wouldn't surprise me here. All right, real quick, guys, before we get to the rest of the games, I wanted to talk to you about RotoWire and specifically their fantasy football draft kit for this upcoming season. If you're like me, there's 2 things that you prioritize when it comes to fantasy football. First and foremost, you want to win your league, right? But second, you want to avoid coming in last because you know your buddy's going to put you through some tough punishment. And this RotoWire fantasy football draft kit is exactly how you can accomplish at least one of those 2 things. It's going to give you the best chance to win your league, but it's going to give you an even better chance to make sure that there is going to be someone out there that is worse than you. Because these tools are so good, you will have a leg up on everyone else in your league literally going into the draft. How good does that sound? From cheat sheets to draft softwares to mock drafts, specific projections for specific players, all the way to finding your best sleepers and even analyzing where guys' ADP average draft position should be. What I think is also really cool is they have an Ask the Expert section too, meaning people like you and me can rely on someone else that might know a thing or two about winning some fantasy football leagues. I have a link in the pinned comment, guys. It's also going to be in the description to go ahead and check it out. Again, that is the fantasy football draft kit from RotoWire. Go ahead and check out all of the tools that it has to offer. I just named a handful of them. All right, we got the Phillies taking on the Astros here. Phillies all over this series so far, 3-2 winning game 1, and then yesterday they win 5-0. Aaron Nola goes 7 innings. Today we essentially have a pick'em, and that's most likely due to the fact that Taijuan Walker's on the mound, going up against Spencer Arrieta, who Spaghetti has been hit or miss as of late. He's looked okay, but Walker, I really wouldn't say he has. So in this spot, I think I'm going to lean towards, kind of seems kind of crazy because that is a high number, but an over right away. I don't trust either one of these pitchers, and it seems like Houston's bats are a little bit dormant right now, right? Like they've scored 2 or less runs in 3 of their last 4 games. That isn't necessarily like them. I'm not saying they're the powerhouse that they even were last year at times this season, but 2-0 runs seems a little crazy here. I think that their offense gets back into gear. Give me Houston here on the money line. I wish we were getting some plus money for them, but I do just feel like they have the better spot today. This Phillies team, even though they are starting to score more runs, still, if you look at more of a macro last 30 days or so, not exactly crushing right-handed pitchers or anything like that. Arrieta, they've never seen Arrieta, so I'm assuming he'll be a little bit better than Walker, who has 72 plate appearances against this Houston team. They've seen him plenty, so give me the Astros in this spot. I also don't mind the over. I'd probably roll with Astros money line before I get to the over, just because that number's at 10. But if you can get this at 9.5 or lower, if you have a better line there, I wouldn't mind that either. But yeah, 10, just that number just doesn't look as appealing as it should, right? All right, next up, we got Seattle taking on Tampa Bay. Luis Castillo on the mound going up against Drew Rasmussen for Tampa Bay here. I believe he's just pitching a few innings, if I'm not mistaken, and then they go to Tyler Alexander as the primary, or Tyler Alexander starting too. So make sure to get a confirmed starter for Tampa Bay if that matters to you. It really doesn't matter to me. Right now, I would take Seattle on the first 5 run line. Luis Castillo, I trust a lot more than whether it's Rasmussen or Tyler Alexander, who's pitching the bulk of this game, right? And Tampa Bay ends up winning yesterday in a close game, 3-2. I don't think that they go out there and touch Luis Castillo. And they didn't even really get to Gilbert, right? They scored their runs in the, was it 8th and 9th or 7th and 8th, and ended up winning the game. So righty starters against Tampa Bay has still been a big issue for them. My one problem is that Seattle's offense isn't tremendous, right? Like they're winning. Like yesterday, they gave Logan Gilbert 2 runs of run support. That stinks for a guy that goes out there and does his job and shuts out a team, right? So I think Luis Castillo can do the same, but it's definitely going to come down to, can Seattle put some runs up on the board? And I'm hoping they can today against either Alexander or Rasmussen. I'm not really afraid of either one of them. And Luis Castillo has some good numbers against the Tampa Bay roster in his career. So over 74 plate appearances against is a 32.4% K rate, an average against of 250, an expected batting average against of 215, and an expected WOBA here of 286. So I think that he'll be able to go out there and do his job. Maybe it's something similar like we wanted to pull and didn't pull the trigger. That seems to be the theme yesterday on Tampa Bay, of a team total under, because that still would have cashed. We could have got them under 3.5 yesterday. That would have cashed, and they didn't even have to, lose the game for us, right? So maybe that's consideration as well. I don't mind the Nerfy in this spot whatsoever. The Seattle offense doesn't scare me, and I think Castillo is going to go out there and get the job done easily, knock on wood, in his first 3 outs. So give me the no runs in the first inning. I lean towards the under, but like I've been saying with this series all along, 7 seems a little bit too low. I'd rather either take a first 5 under or a Nerfy if you can get good odds there than taking the full game under at 7. It just seems a little too low to me. All right, Tigers taking on the Angels. Not exactly my favorite matchup here. We have an opener for the Tigers. I think it is, let's see, we just had it up. The opener for the Tigers is Englert. And then who's pitching for them, listed as the primary, is going to be Kenta Maeda. So going up against Griffin Canning for the Angels, this is the type of game where I feel like anything can happen. The Tigers won yesterday 6-2. They're huge favorites. Again, similar to what I said yesterday, it's like the Tigers probably win this game, but this is still the Tigers. They just got over 500, 67 and 66 yesterday. Like, I don't want to pay minus 150 for a Tigers team, so screw it. I'll lean towards the Angels. If you needed to bet on this game, I still think the Tigers probably are the better team, but for that price, that risk versus reward does not seem like it. So the Angels are kind of a flyer for me, and it's kind of a screw it play. If you guys are coming to the video looking for my best screw it plays, you got the Angels there. By the way, I would never recommend you guys betting the screw it plays. But in terms of a total here, I don't think either team is going to go off. I'm just worried about the pitching. I'm still going to lean towards the under. Even yesterday, right, we saw 6-2. The Tigers offense has been scoring some runs last few games here, 5, 13, 9, 6, 6. So there's no reason to say they won't touch up Griffin Canning, but the last few games for the Angels here have been 0, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2. So even if they go out there and score, 5, 6 runs on the Tiger side, if the Angels just keep being dormant, and they might not catch up. So again, the Angels are the screw it play just for the odds. And then in terms of an actual, I guess, play that we could consider would be the under, but this isn't a game that I'm loving, like I already mentioned. But something that I am loving is the deals going on over on Sleeper right now. It is Wild Card Wednesday, meaning they usually have some sort of crazy deal, whether it's 3 discounted players or, a protected play up to $25 or something like that. They have a Wild Card Wednesday, and right now, for the next couple days, you can get 2 free squares. Kyle Harrison's pitching today. We got Cam Rising going, I believe, tomorrow in college football. So you have 2 free squares you're going to get from Sleeper. You're also going to get your first deposit 100% matched, and you're going to get whatever they drop for Wild Card Wednesday. I'll have a link for Sleeper in the pinned comment. If you don't know what it is a DFS player prop app in which you just have to go off player props and combine 2 or more props into a slip, saying more or less than the projection that they have. If you hit more, I guess if you just hit more than you lose in your slip, you're most likely to cash there. It is really cool. I love the fact that they have alternate lines. They have more lines and available plays than pretty much any other app out there. They don't just strip them the minute the odds get bad. So go ahead and check out Sleeper, guys. Again, say you hit like 4 out of 5, you cash. If you hit 5 for 5, you cash. But each and every pick is going to have its own unique multiplier, which makes Sleeper really cool. It doesn't just follow a fixed payout structure. So check out that link in the pinned comment, guys. You can also just use code GUYBOSTON. You're going to get all of the deals. The 100% deposit match, the Wild Card Wednesday, and these 2 free squares here for the next couple days. Go ahead and check out Sleeper. Link in the pinned comment. Now let's jump back into the rest of these games. All right, Cincinnati taking on Oakland. Fernando Cruz listed to be the opener for the Reds. I'm not exactly sure who's going to be getting the start for them, but on the mound for the Athletics is going to be Osvaldo Bido. The odds are essentially a pick 'em here. You have Cincinnati has slight actual home dogs, which I don't necessarily mind the spot for them to bounce back. They are the better team than Oakland, right? They're at home here, and they're going up against Osvaldo Bido, who I'm not going to sit here and say is really good. Now, he's had some good starts this year, coming off of a 6 innings, 2 hit, 0 earned run, 5 strikeout game against Toronto. So I'll give him a little bit of credit there, but still, this is a guy that I don't really have this full faith in, and he's going to throw a ton of fastballs. What do I say about guys that throw fastballs to Cincinnati? It's worth considering, right? And then you have Cruz, who again, he's just going to open, so we'll see how he does, but just based on what we have, he is the listed starter. He's going to throw a splitter, a fastball, and a cutter. Oakland only hits the cutter well out of those, and they hit it very, very well, but that's his third most used pitch. So, the fastball and splitter ahead of those. So give me Cincinnati, kind of trusting the fact that Cruz will go out there and open well, and then the Cincinnati bullpen can come in and pitch well. This is a good Cincinnati bullpen, all things considered here. In terms of where they have arms, they're kind of like light. A lot of guys went yesterday, no one the day before, so I guess that's why they're probably going bullpen game today, because it's like, well, guys only pitched, once in terms of, yesterday, right? Like in, 25, 15 pitches. I think that they still should have the majority of their good arms to be able to pitch today, right? So I trust Cincinnati in this spot for -108 against a bad team in Oakland, coming in a bounce back spot. I do think that this is a nice spot for Cincinnati. Now, in terms of the total, I lean towards the over. I feel like I always end up leaning over when I lean Cincinnati, just given the fact that I think that that's how they win games. And then it kind of even gives credit to the A's offense if they do get to Cruz and if the bullpen isn't sharp today for the Reds. So I'll lean towards the over, but I do think I'm much more likely to pull trigger in Cincinnati, and it honestly has a decent chance of being a final play today. I'm kind of shaking in my boots about Cruz, but I think that that's why we're getting better odds. Like, I think that you have a Cincinnati team that plays well at home that could be decent today. And the A's on the road have only won, 37% of their games this season. Might be a good spot for Cincinnati. Call me crazy. Washington taking on New York here. And yesterday, if you were to be like, oh, Patrick Corbin against, who was it, Garrett Cole, right? Who's going to pitch better? Patrick Corbin put on a nice little show for the people at home against one of the best offenses in the league. So you know what? Kudos to Patrick Corbin. Today, I don't think that they hang on to that sort of momentum. You have Mackenzie Gore going up against Carlos Rodon. I do think that, this is a Yankees starting rotation, Rodon included, that do struggle a little bit when they are on the road. And the Yankees have started to get a lot better against lefties. So they've kind of marked that blemish away, right? Which we like to see. The one thing here is that Mackenzie Gore just pumps fastball in and around the zone over and over again. I think it's like 75% of his pitches or something, which Yankees hit fastballs really well. He goes to a slider next. The Yankees second best in terms of runs above average last 30 days per 100 sliders seen. And then the changeup is sort of where they're the middle of the pack, but he's only going to get that. They're only going to get that 10% of the time. So this is fastball slider. Both of those pitches they should see. I like the Yankees team total over in this spot. I like them to win the game, but right now -188. Not going to catch me doing that. Maybe we tried yesterday and failed, right? Maybe we look at the Yankees money line mixed with in a same game parlay of their team total over, so that we can kind of get a better line and better odds for the whole thing, because I think that they score a bunch of runs in a win today, right? Which kind of also leans into the over here, but I don't want to trust the Nationals to score a bunch of runs. Even yesterday in that win, if Patrick Corbin doesn't pitch well, they probably lose that game. They only scored 4 runs, so I'm not going to go full game over. I'd rather go team total over for the Yankees and just worry about them. All right, Boston taking on Toronto in this spot. Brian Bayo on the mound going up against Chris Bassett here. Red Sox getting the 6-3 win in game number 2, but they lost 7-3 in game number 1 there. Bayo has been, I would say, serviceable, and then he comes in with a really bad start against Arizona. 5 1/3, 7 hits, 5 runs, only 2 strikeouts and 4 walks. So he didn't necessarily have his best stuff in that game. Whereas Chris Bassett has been all over the place as well. He's averaging 5.6 strikeouts per game in his last 5, which we'll get into in just a second. I have a player prop for Chris Bassett. But in terms of money line and total in this spot, I think I have to look at the Red Sox and hope that Bayo can go out there and pitch a good game. So I like the Red Sox on the money line. Bayo struggled against this Toronto roster, but so has Bassett. So I'll slightly lean towards the over as well. But give me Bayo in the Red Sox. Team total over and full game over. Now we do have, like I said, a player prop in this game as well. And for said player prop, we're going to jump into the outlier screen, which, by the way, guys, if you are not on outlier yet, you are seriously missing out. This thing is going to come in so clutch for football season. You'll see a lot more of it as well. It is my favorite sports betting research tool, and by far my favorite player prop research tool as well. We have some videos on the channel showing how to use it over and over, but right now all I do is come in, filter to the game, look at all these props, see what looks good, and then head in. You can see this. I like Chris Bassett here under 5.5 strikeouts for -102 odds today. Head to head, he's hit this in 50% of the games, but this season, and especially the last time, he only hit that line by a little bit, right? 6. And in that game, he pitched only 6 innings. He's gone 7 innings in 3 of these 4, and still has only struck out 6+ in 2, especially last game that he pitched against them, which was a couple months back, right? 7 innings, only 2 strikeouts. What I really like about outliers, you can come in here and you see Chris Bassett's pitch mix, right? Sinker, cutter, curveball, but really the sinker and cutter are the 2 pitches that I'm concerned with here. You can see all of the Red Sox starting lineup. You go, okay, sinker, whoa. All of their K rates get a hell of a lot better. If it's green, it's good, right? So their K rates drop. Even someone like Danny Jansen here, 19% K rate against the sinker, it drops 10 points. And their WOBA, their weighted on base average, goes up as well. And virtually the same thing against the cutter. Now, they don't hit it as well, but they're certainly striking out just as infrequently, right? So I really like this spot. And a couple key guys you can look at. Some guys that you might be worried about striking out a decent amount. For example, let's just look at like Casas and maybe Devers or something. But Devers here, right? Against the left-handed batter, he's going up against a right-handed pitcher. That sinker is going to be really deadly for Devers. I mean, pretty much anywhere other than up and away, Devers is going to be able to hit. You even look at Casas, right? It's going to be the same sort of thing. Casas hits the sinker too if it's anywhere hanging in the zone. Decent amount of pitches around there for Bassett. So using heat maps and whatnot are really cool about outlier as well. But yeah, Chris Bassett under 5.5 strikeouts. I'm liking what's great. You can see all of the odds. Click into one of these. You can do it on your phone if you want to scan the QR. You could also just go here and it's going to place it in your bet slip. You do not have to even go and dig for it. So check out outlier, guys, but Chris Bassett under 5.5 strikeouts, strong chance of being a final play. That outlier link will be in the pinned comment. You get a 7-day free trial to see if you like it for yourself with that link. No code needed. Just use the link. 7 days free. Why not go try it, right? It's an absolute banger of a tool. I promise you that. I think you'll like it, and you get 7 days free. All right, moving on. We got Atlanta taking on Minnesota here. Minnesota dogs at home. Total sitting at 7.5. Been an interesting, I guess, series so far. Atlanta has won both, but in like high-scoring fashion, which has not been Atlanta's MO as of late. And the Twins still, like, if you were to tell me the Twins scored 6 runs in the first 2 games, you'd at least think that they had won one of them, right? Which they haven't. So pretty interesting that hasn't been the case. Now Chris Sale is on the mound. Chris Sale, obviously an absolute stud of a pitcher. 1.6 ERA over his last 5 starts here, which is just tremendous, right? Going up against David Festa, who I just don't think is all that great, has struggled at home here. And one thing I will say is Minnesota against lefties hasn't been exactly the team that they have been against righties over the last 30 days or so. So I'm going to lean towards the Braves here. My one concern is how wonky the series has been, right? Like the Braves are going to sweep Minnesota. I wouldn't have told you that would happen prior to the series. I think that they would at least be a 2-1 split at the very, most or least, depending on how you look at it. And the Braves, like they're kind of due for a bad offensive game. So maybe the way that we play this ends up being just a Minnesota team total under, and we don't have to worry about the Braves. And I'm wondering what we can get that at. In fact, another shout out to Outlier. Let's go and find that. You can head in here. We're going through all of the games. You can see all of the hit rates. So it's not just for player props, right? But you can go into match details, team props, Minnesota Twins runs, right? You can look at all of the best odds out there. So under 3.5 would be what we have to roll with, which I was hoping we can get 4, but the books know Chris Sale's pitching, right? So that's kind of tough. We can even look at maybe a first 5 for this one. Under 1.5, still a little sketchy there, but that might be how we have to play it if we do want to back Chris Sale today, just due to the fact that, Minnesota's offense is at least been hitting, even though they're going up against lefty today, and the Braves offense has been out of their mind hitting. Like, they're going to regress. Minnesota probably continues to do a little bit of what they've been doing. Makes it a tough spot to go with the Braves today in a sweep position, but I don't mind a low scoring game. So I'm going to lean a slight lean towards the under, as well as Minnesota team total under, but we're going to have to think long and hard about pulling trigger in 3.5 because they've scored 6 runs in 2 straight games now in this series. All right, next up, we're looking at St. Louis taking on San Diego. Payente on the mound going up against Joe Musgrove. So San Diego ends up winning the game. Whoop-de-frickin-do, all right? We had them in the first 5. They're up 4-2 heading into the bottom of the 5th, and they blow it. So you know what? I don't care if they won the game. We didn't bet on that. Dylan Cease didn't look all that great. They made him absolutely work. I do think it's a decent bounce back spot for them. And who knows, maybe the fact that they lost, you're getting some decent odds on their side, -125 on the money line. I look at San Diego again, but I'm a little pissed at them. So I don't know if I have the cojones to pull trigger on a team that absolutely blew it for us. And then, like, it's almost like I would have rather San Diego just lose the game outright too. You know what I mean? Like, they blow the first 5 and then just rub it in our face by winning the full game. So give me San Diego in this spot. They're just a by far and away better offense, and that's, you know, not even close to a debate. You're going to get a lot of fastballs from Payente, 5th best team when it comes to hitting the fastballs. Joe Musgrove, definitely someone that I'm concerned with here. So I am a little, like I said, hesitant to pull trigger, but he's been kind of unreal in his last 5 starts. 0.6 ERA, allowing 0.8 runs per game in total, right? And he's going, in his last start, he went 7 innings, averaging, you know, in his last couple starts here, 8 strikeouts or 7.5 strikeouts. Like, maybe this dude's ready to deal, right? So I do think that gives me a little assurance, but in his career, this is why I'm a little hesitant to pull trigger. 96 plate appearances against this current Cardinals roster, 338 average against, a WOBA of 415, a slugging of 512. Those aren't exactly the metrics you're looking at if you want to back a team, right? So I'm trusting San Diego's offense if we were to pull trigger on this one, but maybe Musgrove can go out there and pitch well like he has been. He's been really, really good overall, but absolutely god-awful on the road. I think only 1 or 2 of those last 5 starts, when I said that he had the crazy ERA, are on the road. The rest are at home. So I do like San Diego in this spot. Maybe slightly lean towards the over as well, hoping that they can put up a big number. Before we move on, guys, if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 25 and let me know your favorite athlete that has ever worn number 25. It doesn't have to be the best. I just like seeing who you guys think of when you think of 25. So let me know in the comments down below which athlete you think of when you think of number 25. I have one that, like, just for whatever reason, maybe it's playing Madden growing up or something like that, but Jamal Charles on the Chiefs rocking number 25. It's kind of an obscure one, but I think people forget how filthy Jamal Charles was, especially like video game Jamal Charles, you know what I mean? So that's who I think of when I think of 25, but it's a cool number, but it's not like the most, you know, used number, I feel like. So let me know in the comments who you guys think of when you think of number 25. All right, White Sox taking on Texas. Not sure exactly what's going on with this. We don't have odds yet. Looks like Jack Leiter's going to start for the Rangers. Don't think we have a starter for the White Sox yet. This game, not this game, but one of these games was postponed yesterday. We had that one that ended up pushing, but probably would have lost based on our luck yesterday, so maybe it pushes like a net win. So not exactly sure where to come out on this one. We don't have the pitching we had yesterday, so I'd probably just lean Rangers or nothing. We don't even know the total yet, so keep an eye on the pin comment to see if we have anything for this one, but as of right now, nothing. Kind of a weird spot, and maybe there'll be some weather again that ends up, you know, stopping the game. So not exactly my thing that I'm eyeing in on, is essentially. All right, we got the Brewers taking on the Giants. Freddie P. Peralta on the mound here. And then on the mound for San Francisco is going to be Kyle Harrison. San Fran wins 5-4 yesterday. Neither one of these starting pitchers in Logan Webb or Tobias Myers looked all that stupendous. But nonetheless, San Francisco gets the win. I would say that, you know, Milwaukee has the better offense, and they do. I just don't know if I loved what I saw out of them, but Freddie Peralta has some decent numbers. Only 32 plate appearances against this current San Fran team, but an expected batting average against of 186 and an expected WOBA of 263. So I do lean Milwaukee. My one concern, and I know you guys get annoyed when I say it a lot, but it's sports betting. You got to be able to pay attention to these things. I don't think they're worth -166. You know what I mean? So I like the Brewers. I think that they'll win the game. The thing that keeps me off of them is the fact that you're paying a huge price tag for a game that's closer to 50-50 than that would indicate, at least in my opinion. I don't mind an over. I think we could see another game just like yesterday, 5-4. I'm thinking it's going to be Brewers on top this time, but 5-4 doesn't seem like it's that outlandish, so I'll lean towards the over in this spot as well. Milwaukee against left-handed pitchers last 30 days, Kyle Harrison being lefty, 6th best average, 2nd best on base, so maybe they'll bring in a few runs. My one, and again, it's a concern, is the fact that San Fran, their offense isn't great now. They looked good yesterday, at least for 5 runs, right? But against righties last 30 days, they have struggled. 5th worst average, 8th worst WRC plus, middle of the pack when it comes to power and ISO and slugging. So can they carry their weight? Hopefully. I don't think it's crazy to ask for 4 runs from them in Milwaukee to go 5+, right? So give me Milwaukee in the over, but pay attention to those odds, guys. Even if you think Milwaukee's a slam dunk, are they a 166 slam dunk? That's a lot of juice. All right, Colorado taking on Miami. This is actually a spot in which I almost seriously pulled the trigger in yesterday, and I'm glad I didn't. I liked Colorado, and I liked the under. The final score was Miami winning 9-8. So, yeah, I guess we just didn't see the board clearly yesterday. I'll own it. I know you watching have had days where you haven't seen the board clearly either, right? But in this spot, we have Kyle Freeland on the mound going up against Max Meyer. Is it Kyle Freeland? I have to check that, actually. It is indeed. So we have Kyle Freeland on the mound going up against Max Meyer. In terms of what I'd play here, it probably is another Colorado spot, even though they end up losing yesterday. Maybe Colorado first 5, but you're talking Colorado, you're talking Miami. You, my friend, are a psycho if you love anything in this game here. So I'll lean towards the under as well. Though we had a high-scoring game yesterday, I still don't believe in either one of these offenses. In a 6-5 game that would push here seems like a lot of runs, even though the offense, even though the pitchers are bad, these offenses, I believe, are a little bit worse. So I'm going to lean Colorado. I'll also lean towards the under, but like I said, we'll see how psycho I am if I end up actually pulling the trigger on a game, on this game. All right, we got Arizona taking on the Mets here. Looks like Eduardo Rodriguez is listed to start, and his opposition is going to be Luis Severino. Arizona gets beat yesterday. Their offense had been cooking. They only scored 3 runs yesterday, and the Mets carry it away with 8. The Mets have now scored 7+ runs in 2 of their last 3 games. I like Severino in this spot. His last 2 starts have been really good as well. Eduardo Rodriguez hasn't looked bad since coming back, so I don't want to, rain on his parade. And Arizona's offense is super, super good, but realistically, if you want to look at it from a pitch mix perspective, Arizona hits all pitches pretty well. But Eduardo Rodriguez throws pretty much half of his pitches are going to be a fastball, and then the other, I guess 25% of the first 75%. So 75% of his pitches, I'm essentially saying, fastball and changeup. New York, the Mets, in the last 30 days in terms of runs above average per 100 pitches thrown, number 1 in fastball, number 2 in hitting the changeup. So I expect them to score a decent amount of runs today. Arizona can go and score 10 for all they want, but I'm looking at the Mets team total over in this spot. And then because it is a plus number, plus 110, I don't mind the Mets. They just haven't been able to string 2 wins together in like a week, so kind of iffy there. But Arizona could easily bounce back. I'm giving them their credit, but I don't think that Rodriguez or the Arizona bullpen have like a field day with this Mets team, so that's why my main play is going to be the team total over. I'm also seeing a total at 8. It says 9 on our screen. I've seen a total at 8 elsewhere, so if you can get over 8, I think I like that, but I'm hoping that that's the typo and we have the right total on our graphic here, because I think that we have like a 5-4 game at minimum today, which would be 9, right? So yeah, I like the over. Dodgers taking on Baltimore. We have Corbin Burns on the mound going up against Walker Buehler for the Dodgers. Baltimore pulls out a 3-2 win yesterday, and that's a little surprising to me. Even Jack Flaherty pitches well. I think he went like 6+ or went into the 7. Maybe he went 6 innings flat, right? I forget. But anyways, like you're getting a Dodgers team, coming off of a loss at home. I know it's up against Corbin Burns, but you're getting this offense for minus 110. Like, it's really giving me something to think about here. Corbin Burns against this team has been really, really good. He has tons of experience against them, so that works against us as well. 110 plate appearances against, a strikeout rate of 31, an expected batting average against of 186, expected slugging 259, and expected WOBA of 252. So Corbin Burns looks like he's due for a really good game, and I understand that, but his last couple starts, no bueno, and he's gone up against Boston and Houston, 2 offenses that are in the same category, I guess, of this Dodgers team. I don't know if it's worthy of the psycho alert alarm, but I'm going to roll and fade Corbin Burns today. Even though he has good success against his team, I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers to score some runs on him. Give me the Dodgers on the money line. I think the only way that works is if the over hits as well. So I'm going to lean towards the over. But yeah, I mean, I'm not backing Walker Buehler. Don't get me wrong. But I do look at this Dodgers team and say, minus 110, I don't care who you're playing. You don't really get them at those odds very often, right? Also, don't mind they're over 3.5. I think that's minus 140 right now on DraftKings. Over 4.5 is plus 125 on ESPN. So if you want to say Walker Buehler might stink, then just roll with their team total over, because then you're just backing the bats, which may be something that we consider today as well. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy it. We have so much coming down the pipe here in terms of content. We have, between myself, Trey, and Tassos, we're still working on some calls and stuff to finalize our schedule, mixing in baseball, NFL, and WNBA that Trey does, right? I think we're going to have nearly like 26 plus videos coming out every single week, which is absolutely mind-blowing. We're going to have Thursday night, we're going to have Sunday night, Monday Night Football. Trey's going to do a football video. We'll be doing a Sunday slate NFL video. We have head-to-head with Tassos and I. We have tons of content coming out, guys. So hopefully you do, appreciate that and understand the work that's being put into these videos, because we want to have fun and sports bet and all that and make good videos. We're not just focusing on, we are focusing on our picks, but we're going to have bad nights. I'm talking here, I'm giving my picks for today after having an 0-4 night last night, right? But yesterday's video was good. We had a good time doing it, interacting with the community. There's more to it than wins and losses, and we're lucky enough to be profitable over time. So one night isn't going to kill us, but we're putting some work into the production of this channel for the NFL season. So just a little sneak peek there. I appreciate the hell out of everyone that tunes in and even stays to the end of this to hear my rant and ramble. In fact, comment rant if you made it this far. Let me know the true ones, right? But yeah, we have so much coming down the line, guys, and I could not be more excited. Years past, it's been just me. Then Tassos comes on. Now we bring on Trey. We're forming an awesome team here, and we're going to take this channel to new places in the NFL season, still doing everything that we're doing now. So just wanted to give you a little sneak peek, or at least some heads up of what's to come. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.